my name is April Kemp, and I'm the interim department head for marketing and supply chain. And you've gotten to meet one of our students, Emma, so far. Just to brag on Emma a little bit more, she is very involved in the College of Business and several student organizations, and is one of our student competitors in the professional sales program. So make sure you meet Emma. But I'd also like to introduce another student, Christian Johnson. Christian is one of our sales students as well, and he placed in 5 regional and national sales competitions this year. He is interning at Black Diamond Networks, and he's graduating this summer if anyone would like to talk to him as well. So thank you. Come on down, Christian.
I'm Christian Johnson, and I'd like to introduce our next guest speaker, Kevin Gardner. Mr. Gardner is Senior Vice President for Hub International Gulf South. He was the founder and president of Strategic Employee Benefit Services, one of the region's and leading employers prior to its merger with Hub Gulf South in 2011. Kevin specializes in consulting and servicing the needs of both fully insured and self-funded employers in a variety of industries with a specialty focus in healthcare, legal, and manufacturing clients. Kevin serves on many local and national boards, including the Louisiana Department of Insurance Advisory Council. Mr. Gardner will be sharing some quick tips to help our employers save money on insurance. Please welcome me in introducing Kevin Gardner.
Good morning, everybody. And again, thank you, Christian, thank you so much, and thank you to Southeastern for giving me the opportunity to talk to you guys today. I think if you're at a cocktail party, the people you try to avoid is people in my industry. Anyone to do with insurance today is unfortunately sort of a negative term. And so what we're going to talk a little bit about is trying to give you as small and medium and large employers some tips and ideas of how to navigate this challenging mess of insurance. We're not going to get into talking about property and casualty, which is certainly a big issue in many people's minds and a big issue in the state. We're going to focus mainly on what the theme of this meeting is the health of the population of our employees and our groups. So how does health impact our employees and the cost of benefits? So we're going to talk about the ROI, or the reason why we want to invest as employers in trying to engage our employees in a healthier lifestyle. Trying to talk to employers over the last few decades in a state where we are full of festivals, fried chicken festival, you have seafood festivals, jazz festival, we just got off of Hogs for Cause. We are just inundated with fun, right? And fun leads to difficult behavior. And we're never gonna move to 50th to first. The goal is, though, is to try to engage our folks, to try to move the needle and understand that the health of our people impacts our state. We looked at this from an economic development standpoint. We think about, particularly in the North Shore area, we have great health systems. We listened to a couple of them talking here, and obviously improving what we do. Years ago, if we were sick, we got in a car and we drove to the South Shore. That doesn't need to happen anymore because of the quality of care. Businesses and individuals and all of us have moved and been attracted to this area because of great health care, great education. But if we're going to continue to grow the area, you have to grow it in quality of life as well. And that's the health of our area and the affordability of insurance, which is going to be key. So we're going to talk a little bit first about taking you down a negative road. And so we're going to go for 5 minutes going negative, talking about why is this stuff so expensive? Why do we have such a challenge with it? It's important for you to understand the reasons why insurance and health insurance is expensive, and then be able to learn about what options can I do. The most important thing to try to think about is that when you think about your income taxes, most people don't have a lot of hope. And that's why it's such a negative connotation around taxes. Insurance has taken on the same belief. There's not much hope, I hate it. So when we visit with an employer, there's mostly negativity because most people have lost hope that you can have an impact. So we're going to first understand the anatomy of what got us to where we are now and why we're all paying so much, and then what can we potentially do about it. So trends on healthcare, what the cost going up, what are we all paying? So we look at medical trend is about 8%, pharmacy trend is anywhere between 11 to 12%. Dr. Tim just talked about a few minutes ago, he mentioned the word GLP-1 drugs. If you go back a decade, and we sat with a group, we would be complaining about the cost that we spent on Nexium. And that was such a, today, we wish we had Nexium as our biggest complaint. You go back 5 years ago, and GLP-1 wasn't even an issue. Now, because our state has the issues of obesity and diabetes, huge numbers of your employees are taking these GLP-1 drugs at $1,300 a month. That is almost unsustainable, because all of that, remember, the insurance companies are just going to pass along that cost to you and your employees in the form of premiums. So engaging in trying to do something about that is really ultimately critical. So going back to the anatomy, everyone who's insured in this on a private plan today is in one of these three categories. You're either fully insured, you're either all the way on the right side, self-funded, and a small segment is in what's called level funded, which is a hybrid approach between fully insured and self-funded. We'll spend a little time later on talking about that. And there's a reason for this of why do larger companies move towards self-funded? They're trying to eliminate the margin that a private insurance company charges you and some of the negativity of taxes that are associated with a fully insured plan. Also, because of that pharmacy issue we talked about earlier, there's monies that can be done from flexibility and rebates, which will go back to that employer if they're self-funded. So you, as an employer, whether you're large or small, want to understand the differences and options that are out there. So where is the money being spent, and what's on the anatomy of the plan? If you look at 34 cents is being spent today on a fully insured plan for hospitals, 21 cents on physicians and clinical, 29 cents on prescriptions. If we go back to 2010, we were spending around 12 cents on prescriptions. So you can see that has eaten cost obviously away from the first two segments, but it is certainly the fastest growing segment. So if you're with Blue Cross or United or whether Aetna or Cigna, but by and large, most everybody in here is either Blue Cross or United if you're on a fully insured plan, 16 cents are going to overhead, profit, commissions, taxes, fees. Those are where the dollars that as you grow as a company, you're going to be looking at saying, can I do something about that area to manage my overall cost? So we've beaten up our state enough on where we're ranked, but obviously this is adding to the anatomy of cost. So the next thing is getting to a real complicated thing, and if Michelle and Joan were up here talking about the strain that they go through in managing how they get paid, this is the most complicated piece in our industry. If you look at the black line and you take the red line going across, that's the red line is the break-even dollar that a hospital needs to pay its expenses. Medicaid is paying a little above 50% of what is billed versus what is needed. So every Medicaid patient that walks in the door, the hospital is losing money. Now, it's better than being non-insured or uninsured, but the reimbursement is challenged. Next is Medicare and Medicare Advantage plans. Better than Medicaid, but still a challenge. And all of us who have parents who we've helped with decisions about when they turn 65, about the best plan to pick, they're trying to decide whether they stay on Medicare or they go to a Medicare Advantage. those all have an impact on the hospital as well. These plans are not bad, and Medicare is certainly not bad, and Medicare Advantage is not bad. But reimbursement is difficult on Medicare Advantage with hospitals, and it's a battle on overall affordability of cost as far as how a hospital is managing the program. The blue line leaves all of us who have private insurance. The only way financially today in this puzzle of how to make money for a hospital, they have to have a good mix of private pay. If you're in a parish where there's a high uninsured rate, a high Medicaid rate, a high Medicare rate, and a low private insurance rate, it is a battle for affordability of making sure that, not affordability, but profitability of keeping that hospital managed. So having a growth in insured population, a growth of all of us being able to keep our employees on a plan affordably, and growing economically an area to attract companies here to increase the number of employees is really critical for those hospitals to grow and healthcare to prosper in an area. Real quickly on this, these lines may be hard to see, but the top line is the number of insured patients in Louisiana over the last decade. The sad state is that while our neighbors to the west has had robust growth in the number of insured, in Louisiana we've had a decline in the number of insured. And we went back to that previous slide. We need people to have private insurance to have a successful healthcare system. You can see the growth over the last decade in Medicaid, Medicare, and then the uninsured is the only good news, is that that has slowly gone down but has plateaued. And this quickly, same slide, just showing since 2014 to today, the number of people that are covered under Medicaid in our state, Medicare, the uninsured, and private pay. We've got to figure a way, and that's why affordability of private health insurance is important. So we went through the bad news. Now we're going to try to go through solutions and tips of how to get us in a better pathway with our folks. So we go back to this slide. If you are a group between 2 and 50, your rates are no different if you are healthy or unhealthy. It's a sad statement to make, but because of ACA laws, if you're in that category, you are paying the same whether your employees are healthy or not. It's a set community rated amount. Many people in this category are not happy because of where rates have gone. Majority of those people are mostly insured with Blue Cross. United Healthcare does have a small segment in that, but majority are Blue Cross. Level funded is a variation that has been more popular as of late. And if you're healthy, if your group is healthy, you can be a candidate to move out of the normal community pool that exists in that fully insured segment and above, and you can move into a quasi self-funded program that does put parameters up that protects you. Again, though, you have to make sure your group is healthy if that's going to be a positive alternative. But it does give you an alternative of why is it important to engage your employees and educate your employees in healthy practices. If you're self-funded and you're large, no matter what, having a healthier workforce, engaging your employees to understand why their behavior has an impact upon profitability, growth, how your company's doing, and the cost of this plan is really, their plan is fundamental. So we'll spend a little time on that. On the small group market, to show you how it's changing, on Blue Cross's data, on their small group segment, they have a little over 300,000 people between 2 to 50 that they currently insure. If you look back over the last 2 years, starting in December of 23, they've begun to have a slide in the number of people insured under fully insured plans. That's not because people are leaving the state, it's because the healthier groups are leaving in moving toward an alternative plan to try to save money. So as you meet with your representatives, you should ask them, are there alternatives other than being on the fully insured plan that could potentially benefit me? So quick things to do. Do your best to understand the health challenges of your employees. I'm going to focus on this in a second. Focus on the health of your population. Look at the employee population health as an investment. It is not just about the premium. It's about retention, absenteeism, turnover. Engaged employees are usually better employees from long-term stability and retention. Communicate the importance of this culturally. To never talk to your employees that their behavior, their health has no impact or has an impact upon your plan, we believe is fundamental. You have to talk to them about why healthier behavior is important, but it begins with creating a culture. Engaged employees have significant lower costs. We'll show you an example. And the one recommendation I would tell you is that a lot of times people want to start a robust, huge wellness program when they've never had a program before. That's probably not advisable. You're going to end up being disappointed with the results. The question we're going to address in a second is start simple. Start with some simple behavior that does not require a lot of investment or money. So we're going to talk about a company that's located in New Orleans and also in Tangipahoa Parish, and a decade-long mission that they went on to try to engage their employees and improve behavior. And so Latrim is the name of the company. Latrim does multiple different types of businesses. Their largest business is a conveyor belt business. They're the largest conveyor belt maker for Amazon, the United States Postal Service, and they have multiple plant facilities and had a continual high increase in cost of their health plan. And their CEO made the decision that this has to stop. I want personal accountability of our people, and went on a mission to try to engage their employees. Started simple, and then eventually grew the plan to where they even had, after success, clinics within each of their different operations. So even with that, they're at 54% engagement of their employees, which you would hope would be greater, but the 54% have been key of who they've engaged. 71% of their chronic population made measurable improvements. So if you look across the categories, the major categories you're trying to assess, and we've done this now and looked over it over multiple years, from body mass index to blood pressure to A1C, all the way across, 83% of the at-risk members made positive change. It took, though, one simple step. I think earlier in the conversation, Michelle had everybody raise their hands of how many people have been to a doctor and had engagement on that. And probably everybody in this room, we live sometimes in a little bit of a bubble, and we believe everybody is having the same behavior as we are. You would be shocked how many of your employees don't have a primary care physician, don't visit a primary care physician, don't have engagement. When you do a wellness fair or you do something that's a feel-good, all the runners, gym members, they all show up. All your A personalities, they're there at every meeting. The folks that you want to get at, the ones that have challenges, don't show up to those kind of events. So how do we get them engaged? And it's really starting simple, and we'll talk about that at the very end. Incredible thing to look at, if you look at it now over a decade, and we look at where we are, and we just look at last year's numbers. These are the top 14 major diagnosis categories. And if you look at the second and third column, the second column are the non-engaged employees, and what did we spend on those items per member per year? The engaged employees, we spent $5,000, the non-engaged, we spent $5,512 per year on those categories. The engaged employees, who are in the programs working on lowering all of their numbers. We spent 2,612. So getting at the non-engaged is the future key on this. Then just so you know, a reality check, they still have inflation trend. Their numbers are still, from a cost standpoint, going up, but far below the national averages and far below the local averages. Because they looked at it as a strategic resource that they're offering to their employees, that this is a quality thing, we care about you, we're investing in you, we're promoting it, we're making it part of our culture. They've been nominated as a top 10 workplace in the United States, not in Louisiana. So tremendous success story, and a lot of this has been done with managing their overall corporate wellness. So is it the right thing to do? It is. And so it supports the employees' well-being, it makes you have a great place for the employees to work, drives higher engagement, helps you recruit and retain as part of your differentiator as an employer, and hopefully in this, it reduces your risk and overall cost. So what do? What step do you take? And how do you, we said in the beginning, starting simple. Latrim is on the far right, and I would not suggest anyone even attempt to do that in a short term. They didn't. They built it over years. Your health plan under law covers wellness, and the plan for a person to be engaged in wellness, they can go in for zero out of pocket in your plan. That's the law. So the simple step is just to do engagement and remind them of their benefit. But I will tell you, those runners, joggers, walkers, A-types, they're going to already take advantage of that. How do I get to those people who don't want to get engaged? You have to put premium on the line. You have to make a statement that the cost of the plan for those who are not engaged is costing all of us more money. So we're going to do, you can call it a carrot and a stick. If you want to go carrot, you can say the premium is lower for those who are engaged and the same for those who are not engaged, or just be open and honest with them and say, premium is X if you're engaged, and it's going to go up to Y if you're not. And what does engagement mean? It can be as simple as a visit to a primary care physician to show proof that you formed a relationship and made a visit. It can be getting their biometrics to know what their baseline challenges are and having a primary care visit. The biggest thing you can do as an easy start is to have them meet with somebody, particularly for men. You know, you're trying to avoid, and the one thing about healthcare today, for all of you all who are managing the programs, we used to worry about overuse. We used to set health savings accounts up and try to get people to temper the amount of times they went to the doctor or abused it. That's not it. The big issues today in healthcare are these massive single episodes, whether it's heart attacks, or cancers, or strokes. These things are in the multiple thousands of dollars. And we're trying, and you're trying to identify those and prevent those. And visiting a physician and taking that simple step is a really good idea. If you get into it and you have success with that, you can build it out. You can add things to it that get more engagement of your employees and focus on different chronic illnesses. But it's starting simple. If you start aggressively, you're going to wear out on being able to do this. So end on this, just a reminder, keep it simple. ROI is just not measured in net cost reduction, it's measured in long term. So focus on a long term, create a culture and understanding the health fundamentals, and understand your funding options. Understand how to fund the program. So thank you so much. I really appreciate the opportunity to talk to you today.